Hello and welcome. My name is Okello, Sharon Nagenjwa. This is Triumph, beating the odds. Real estate has been a male-dominated field. However, we have the bold women who are choosing to face the challenges, overcome them, and reap out of real estate. If you're out there and you're passionate about real estate, wondering whether to venture in it, or if you're in it but facing challenges, today is the time to find the solutions together. I have a guest, Rhona Ejang, the founder of Fortrigge, a company that is for property management and real estate. Rhona, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Sharon.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
All these looks, yeah? How are you moving up and down and showing people houses, managing property?
Thank you so much for the compliment. So, first of all, I very strongly believe that people address you the way you dress yourself. So, considering how I try to portray my brand, it's very important that I look the part always and look as professional as always.
So real estate is a male-dominated field, and we have women who are making changes in real estate, but you got to be bold to take that journey. So why real estate?
When you look at the statistics of real estate, it's a very raw field at the moment in the country, and yet it has immense potential that is currently being toyed with almost, I would say. Because typically when you speak of real estate in Uganda, people think you're a broker. And yet when you go into the depth of it, real estate is actually a very broad field with so much that needs to be done, but it just needs a professional touch to it. So Fortrigge Company Limited coming into this space, that is what we intend to give. We intend to provide or to avail the economy or the sector with professional services along the lines of real estate.
So who is Rhona Ejang?
Rhona Ejang, I'd like to say, is an ambitious young lady that likes to take life by the horns. I would almost say I'm a risk taker, but of course I take calculated risk. Founder of Fortrigge Company Limited. Fortrigge Company Limited comes from two words. That's fortune and bridge. So typically, Fortrigge is your bridge to your fortunes. We're the bridge. You're looking at your fortunes and you're looking at how to get there. So we're the bridge to take you there.
Okay. Growing up, was real estate your dream?
Typically, it's very hard to find a little child that will tell you, I want to be a real estate agent, especially considering the perception that people have of real estate in Uganda. Typically, when you tell someone I'm into real estate, they'll say, "Oh, no, broker." Coming from a family with very professional parents, truthfully speaking, I would not have ever imagined that I would get into real estate. Real estate is something that I grew up and ventured into out of the passion for it and also discovery as an adult.
So in this field, how did you start?
First of all, I think I was very privileged as a person to have started working much, much younger in life. I started working immediately after my Form 6 vacation. So that gave me the time and experience of working in several different sectors, in both the public and private sector. And the two last companies for which I worked were a construction company and a business management consultancy firm. When I first came out of employment, I met one client. So this particular client never used to live in the country, but he was doing renovation for his apartments. But there was a problem with the timelines. You put contractors there and they will tell you that we'll deliver at this time. And somehow you find that a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, the work is not being done. Quality was being compromised very greatly. You'd find that even the most basic things are not being done the way that they should. So those are some of the things that first made me start to consider real estate. Because I found that as a very professional company, we can actually help to mitigate some of these risks that some of the people that would like to invest in the sector go through. Another one of the challenges that I encountered when I first got into the market was someone coming up and telling you, oh, I have a house for sale. I spent this amount of money putting it up. But when you go there, you find that it was a bad investment. Now, real estate is a very, very good investment for anybody that would like to keep money. But it can also be a very bad investment, especially if you haven't done your market research. If you're not familiar with the fundamentals of real estate, Kampala is divided into so many different areas, and you'll find that they're almost tiers. When I talk about tiers, I mean, should I call it kind of like a system where you'd find that other areas are graded higher than others. So if you're investing so much in an area that is typically considered to be of a lower tier, you might not be in position to derive the value that you should have. So that is one of the reasons why you should, for example, consult from a real estate agent to assist you with some of these things.
First, break down this tier thing.
So typically we have so many areas in Kampala. We have areas of Nakasero, Kololo, Muyenga, Naguru, Kawempe, Chisenyi, several areas. And anybody knows that they're not at the same price scale. That's what we call the tiers, the different categories or the different levels. So we talk about the first level, that would be areas of Nakasero, Kololo, and Bugolobi. And then we can also talk about the rest of the areas where we have areas of maybe Chisasi, Nigeria, and the rest. So typically, the reason why it's very essential to understand this is because these different areas or different categories also come with different price tags attached to them. So if we're talking about somebody that would like to invest a certain amount of money for you to derive value from it, you need to first of all understand where the right tier to invest in is. A person that would pay you 1.3 billion shillings or 2 billion shillings or $800,000 is not going to want to pay that maybe to stay in Komamboga. They're paying that because they want to live in a certain area. And also, it's not just paying to live in a certain area, but we also know that the fundamentals when it comes to rental price is different. It will also affect the resale value of the property. It will also affect, for example, the purchase price of the land. So all of these factors need to be put into consideration before someone ventures into, for example, buying a property. You need to understand the tiers, you need to understand the market dynamics, you need to understand who your target market is, you need to understand the mind of this person and their consumption habits.
With this real estate, how do you feel you have impacted your community?
I think I've impacted my community quite greatly, and I'll give just a few examples. We've come out in a very professional way, in that we take away all the worry from you and we get the work done for you. And the only thing that you expect from us is superior results, a report, and your money. That is all you expect. So number one, we have come in and we're educating people. Then the second way is we offer a 1-month free trial to people, especially for property management. So if you're not very sure if you should have a property manager or not, we come in and we help you for a month just to show you how things can be done professionally and to show you the difference between when it's being done professionally and when you're doing it yourself or when you're having just a layman do this for you. The third way, we've created employment opportunities. From the inception of this company, we have employed up to 5 people. So you look at 5 people as not a very big number, but one of the reasons why we keep our numbers at that is because we are big on partnerships. And especially it comes down to keeping our costs at a minimum. So we partner with so many different people with whom we work, and then we have 5 employees that work with us in-house. which of course will expand with time as we grow.
Are there people you have inspired in this field?
I think so, very greatly. And I believe some of my direct employees have been some of these people.
Okay.
And also, of course, on social media, you receive messages every now and then telling you about how they're very inspired by what you're doing, and you've given them hope and shown them that there is life after employment.
I joined Fortrigge in 2020. I was actually at campus. I was finalizing with my bachelor's in business computing. Working under a woman like Rhona Ejang at Fortrigge, the way she can assert herself, so which helps her to work with her closely and feeling comfortable with her, because as you said, there's that masculinity in men, you know, taking orders from a lady or a female. It's kind of tricky. But for Rhona, it's a different case, because the way she takes herself, she reasons with you. You understand? Your ideas are open, which makes you feel comfortable and confident in her, of how she takes herself and how she presents herself to you. The advantages of working with a woman, they are really very compassionate, very kind, very understanding compared to a man. And they usually have an open mind, open to ideas, open to different, like there is room for growth when you work with a woman, unlike when you're working with a man, because there's that competition in the company. I believe that's a great experience that I've had with Rhona in Fortrigge company.
When you left employment, did you already have things set out to just jump into the real estate field?
I wouldn't say so. Actually, because my last job was business management consultancy, I actually had wanted to venture into that. But with my very first client that I met, that introduced me to real estate, and because I did an incredible job, he was very impressed. He recommended 4 different clients to me. And these clients became repeat clients. Some of my previous employers also gave me business. And I became passionate about this because I saw a huge void and something that I was increasingly becoming good at.
So it was an unplanned venture, in other words.
Yes, I think it was God's will for me.
Okay.
I'd say that.
How much did you start with?
Real estate it's a service-based business. You don't even need to have capital to venture into it. So for me, because of the level at which I wanted to put my company at, I spent some money renting office space, buying machinery, and with time, of course, employing a few people here and there to help me because the company was fast expanding. But typically for a young person that would like to venture into this, or for a lady that would like to get into this, you'd be very, very impressed to know that you don't even have to invest money. You can just start out. You just need internet. You need access to the media to advertise what you have and to speak to people, to grow a network.
So relatively, the amount of money you spent in renting office space and hiring people. Of course, you hired people later on, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So just your very fast spend. How much was it to kickstart?
I'd say it was about 10 million shillings initially.
Was it a lump sum? Did you already have it in the account that this is what I'm going to use to start a real estate company?
Okay, so what happened is I wouldn't say I had 10 million to spend as a lump sum. Because especially having come out of employment already, like venturing into any other business, you're afraid of the unknown. So I wouldn't have wanted to spend that at a go. So I spent it in a phased manner. So typically when I first got that money, I used it to build my website, to start building my website, to locate an affordable office space, because if you're trying to position yourself in a professional way, people need to know that they find you in an office space where, I mean, you need to have an address for that. And doing small furnishings here and there. And of course, I did that progressively over time, over a period of about 3-4 months.
So you used 10 million shillings in a period of 4 months.
Yes,
so
in about 4
should I say you spent 500,000 here, 500,000 there? Is that money you had saved from your previous work?
Yes, it's money I had saved up.
Yes. Any other assistance you were getting?
No, not for business.
As a young woman, what are some of the challenges that you have to go through in this field?
One of the challenges is being a lady. Uganda is still a little bit traditional. So when people see a young lady, the first thing is they'll think you're incompetent. So it takes a lot for you to convince these people. I think that is one of the big challenges that we faced. The second being still being a lady. There are a few men here and there that might give you a bit of a hard time, but with God's grace, we've managed.
So how would you fight that off?
It's just standing your ground and having the right values. Yes, which is very important. And I'd urge any young lady to be strong and to know her values and to respect herself. It's very important.
You are in real estate. Yeah? And people are scared of this field, especially women. They're scared of venturing into real estate. But then you decided to take the bold move. Does this come down to your personality?
So I think I'd say yes and no. Number one, as I mentioned before, I'm a go-getter. I'm a risk taker. It comes natural to me. So that's one of them. And then number two, I got a lot of motivation from the people around me. Because as a young person, it's always a good thing to have mentors around you. Apart from the education we get in class, when you come into the business world, it's always a good thing to have people that have gone ahead of you in business that are more experienced than yourself.
Yeah.
So I encountered a few of these people that motivated me along these lines and saw things in me that maybe at the time I did not see in myself. This propelled me more to take the risk and go at it. And also I think another very big factor is the fact that for anyone coming into business, they're afraid because they think I need to invest 20 million, I need to invest 50 million. I can't do it now, I need to start next year because I don't have what it takes. But you see, real estate being service-based, even you can start today with just your mobile phone. You know, identifying where a property is, understanding it, understanding the basics, the fundamentals that govern the market, and getting into it without any capital. So those are things that pushed me. I did not have to invest so much in it. I had the right support system around me. And of course, a bit of my personality as well.
Many people in real estate, I would want to call them brokers. Yeah. So they don't pay tax. They're not really compliant. They're not registered anywhere. Real estate is just a sell, buy, be the between the seller and the buyer. So they're not paying tax and doing all these things. Where is your stand?
For anybody that is not tax compliant, I would say that is very wrong. I was very specific when I mentioned professional service delivery. When we speak about professionalism, compliance is top on the list. And compliance not just for my company, Fortrigge Company Limited, but also for my clients is very important. And I cannot start to preach what I do not practice. It starts with me.
Wouldn't you say it would be more expensive for somebody to start being compliant, paying taxes, and get there just the beginners?
Well, you see, the tax system is it's not as rigid as people make it seem. You pay tax on what you have earned, and you're supposed to respond in relation to your earnings. So if you're not earning, there's no tax to pay on that.
Did you ever reach a point and feel like things are not moving? You want to give up?
I think because I'm a strong believer in God. God has protected me all the way. He has stood by me, and I would think even if mentally I ever got to that place, I've been strong through it. And especially when you look at the statistics of how many businesses die out in the first year, it keeps you going because you know that so many people die out because they lose hope, not necessarily because the business does not work out. If you're doing the right thing, if you're consulting in the right areas, I mean reading enough you're studying along those lines, there is nothing that's impossible. You just need to be passionate. You need to read. You need to be informed. You need to constantly be in a place where you're improving on yourself.
Now, from the moment you started to now, give me say an average of your turnover.
There is immense growth. That's what I would say. But when you ask me to give you a figure in terms of turnover, it's a very difficult question. Because, for example, if you asked me along the lines of maybe property management, I would tell you it's still difficult for me because every other month we get new properties. And for each property that you get, it comes with a different amount tagged to it. If I've maybe let out 3 different properties this month and got revenue from my property management, it becomes hard to guarantee you that I'll receive the same amount of money next month.
Okay, let me ask it this way.
Tough.
What's that amount of money you have received and it has shocked you? Yeah? Give me that number.
I would say so far, it was from a sale where I got commission of about 150 million shillings.
Yo, girl, give me some money.
Is that good?
It's that
so
good.
So for the young ladies that are afraid of getting into this, please take the bold step.
From the moment you started this venture, what would you say is the biggest miracle that happened to you?
There are those times when you're not in employment, so you're not making money from anywhere. This is your baby that you're growing and is what should make you money. But somehow business is slow, the money is not exactly coming in, you've spent up quite a bit of money, and then you start to think, was it the right decision to come out of employment? Should I go back? But wow, it was at that moment that I received a huge miracle. A client that is one of my miracle clients, I'd say. He gave me business and introduced me to 4 other people. And this gave me very, very steady income that was quite good. And also, around the same time, I made a big sale, and that's why I actually got the 150 million shillings.
People who are selling their houses don't talk to just one real estate company. They talk to about 10 other real estate companies. So you find that over 10 real estate companies are trying to sell this one property. And then there's a clash. How do you go about that?
It's very selfish of me as a real estate agent to expect that somebody that wants money should go through just me. If anything, it's an opportunity for me to prove myself and to prove that I'm actually worth it. It's just about me doing my best, being more professional than the rest and proving to them that I should be the peak. But if anything, I'd not actually call it a clash.
The houses in Uganda are overly priced. At face value, it looks good. When you're there, you start to see a lot of mistakes, construction mistakes that were made, and yet they cost the net at 1 billion shillings. How would you say this can be solved?
I think we have a very big void when it comes to quality in Uganda. We compromise too much on quality. But also in alignment with the cost of our property here in relation to the cost of properties in other countries. We have challenges where we import a lot. We don't have enough material that is being manufactured here. And even the ones that are being manufactured here are taxed quite highly. So many of these costs affect how much the final product will cost. It's a very unfair thing that hopefully with time, the government can do something to see how these costs can come down. To make it easier so that at least Ugandans do not feel the impact so much. Because typically we're finding a condominium right now at maybe the cheapest one maybe goes for 150 million shillings. But how much is the average salary of the average Ugandan?
To a young woman out there, what would you tell them to look out for before joining real estate?
I think it's very important to first of all understand the dynamics in the market. Because coming into this sector, we have a lot of people that gamble in several sectors. When you meet a client, they're entrusting you with a huge decision. Like I mentioned, somebody probably spent 1 billion shillings constructing a house somewhere in Chisenyi and they intend to make a profit off of it of maybe 300 million shillings. But when you look at that, is that a good investment? Who is going to spend 1.3 billion shillings buying a house in Chisenyi? You need to be very, very knowledgeable. You need to have good communication skills.
You're forgetting the part that I want you to hit at. You need to look good.
Yes, I mean, it's very important to look the part. It's very important.
So there you heard it from Rhona Ejang, the founder of Fortrigge, a company that is in property management and real estate. You can start real estate with zero capital. Why? Because it is a service-based business. Till next time, my name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa with my guest, Rhona Ejang. Don't forget, please, to tap on that subscribe button. Follow us on our social media pages, YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. Triumph-BTO.